This video is brought to you by SkillShare. And myself as well, of course. But the video is not about me or SkillShare though. It's about the iPad. If you've been keeping up with the iPad and following its journey, specifically the iPad Pro's journey, then you know how powerful it's been getting and you know what had to happen next. And it did. Apple took the M1 chip from the MacBooks and put it in the iPad Pro. So what would this mean exactly for the iPad? Would the iPad Pro finally be able to replace your laptop, like for real, with no setbacks at all? Well, we'll know for sure when it completely comes out in May, and we can see how it is in the real world. Right now, we can only take a look at the stuff it has on paper. And it has a bunch of cool stuff on paper. Stuff that seems too crazy to even have in a tablet. For example, you know the XDR display Apple made a little while ago that looks great but costs about $6,000? Well, Apple said that they've brought that display technology to the new 12.9-inch iPad Pro. The iPad is pretty thin though, so taking all that tech from the XDR display and putting it into the iPad isn't really possible. So what they did instead was use a whole lot of mini LEDs and mini LED technology to pull it off. Now we have to see how it looks in person, but if it really does look like the XDR display with all that brightness and with the 120Hz refresh rate too, that'd just be crazy. The 12.9-inch iPad Pro might just have the best screen for video editing, photo editing, gaming, whatever, and that's a screen on a tablet. Crazy. Speaking of video editing, gaming, and stuff like that, as you know, now the iPad Pro has the M1 chip. Now, what does this mean for the iPad? Well, it means the CPU is now 50% faster than last year's iPad Pro, which was already hella fast and powerful to begin with. And now the GPU is also better. Apple says it has 40% faster graphics performance. So CPU and GPU intensive stuff like video editing, with color grading, and even photo editing and gaming, all that stuff that needs a bunch of power won't even be a challenge for the iPad Pro. And if it is a challenge, it'll be the easiest the challenge has ever been. Basically, long story short, the new iPad Pro is yet again
the fastest device of its kind.
And it's all thanks to the new addition of the M1 chip. Now, that's not all the iPad has though. It also has 5G with more connectivity than some other 5Gs out there. It has 4 times more bandwidth. It has Thunderbolt with USB 4 support. It has 2 times faster storage. And this might seem like a boring upgrade, but it's actually a big deal. Like, it's gonna make a whole lot of difference when transferring files, especially with some non-USB-C connections. What's more interesting though are the new cameras that Apple has put in. They don't just give more quality like you'd expect, but they also do some cool stuff too, like panning to keep you in frame while you're moving around and video chatting at the same time. Apple calls this center stage, and it's even supposed to work for multiple people too. There are also all the cool and fun augmented reality stuff you can use the cameras for, and you can also use it for more serious AR stuff if you want. Apple's been really taking AR to the next level with every upgrade, and the 2021 M1 iPad Pro is no exception. Yeah, so new cameras plus very good AR technology, amazing display that should be on par with the $6,000 XDR display. The M1 chip that's lightning fast with the ability to do some serious photo editing work and 4K video editing work. And you can even play console level games if you want. Also, we saw how the M1 chip greatly improved battery life for the MacBooks, so imagine what it could do for the iPad Pro. Really though, the iPad Pro could really be the device that goes beyond not just tablets, but most laptops out there. I mean, the M1 chip on MacBooks already did something like this, and now it's on a device with touchscreen. Oh, and that screen is equivalent to the XDR display, by the way. And you can also use that with just about the best stylus in the world, aka the Apple Pencil. All of this together could put the iPad Pro in a class of its own, where you won't even want to ask whether the iPad Pro can replace your laptop. In fact, if this happens, the question we'll be asking will probably be, can your laptop keep up with can your Intel laptop keep up with the iPad Pro? That'll be the question to ask. Why? Because the iPad Pro would just be that great of a device. Or on the other hand, it could turn out to be just another iPad Pro that's way too powerful and way more capable than the stuff you're actually going to be able to use it for. So you might want to play big games like GTA 5 on your iPad Pro, and it might be powerful enough to handle it. But because of how things are, you could be stuck using your M1 iPad Pro to play Temple Run and to watch some YouTube videos here and there. Make sure to subscribe, by the way. You could also use Instagram, the mobile version though. There's still no version made for the iPad. It's not the M1 chip that's gonna change that. Yeah, so you could be stuck using apps like these or just browsing simple websites like before. I mean, don't get me wrong though, some of these websites are cool and useful, like Skillshare.com for example. Now, coincidentally, SkillShare is also the exact name of the sponsors of this video, and they describe themselves as an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators. The way I'll describe them though is that it's just a place where you get to learn cool stuff you always wanted, or you just like to. Like right now, I'm taking a YouTube success class by this guy, I don't know if you know him, his name is Marquez. He makes tech videos as well when he's not out playing golf. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to learn from a guy you know that's already successful in the same field as you, because just getting to hear what exactly he did that caused the success he has now is just a great opportunity for anyone in the field, you know? If you're curious, he attributes a lot of his success to consistency. Like consistency in work ethic, production, and just in overall branding, basically. If you want to know more though, and learn more, not just from Marquez, but many knowledgeable people, some of who are your favorite creators actually. If you want to learn from them and get the Skillshare premium experience with no ads and new classes always coming out, then all it's going to cost you is less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. Actually, that's not true. You're watching my video, we're basically friends now. For you, it's gonna cost $0. As long as you click on my link in the description to get your free trial. After that, it's gonna cost you money. But the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a free trial of the Skillshare Premium membership so you can learn all you want and explore your creativity. If you're into all that, thanks Skillshare for making it happen, and thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Now, Skillshare is cool and all. Like I said, you can learn a bunch of cool stuff on there. But damn, it'd suck if all I can do with my 2021 M1 iPad Pro is just use websites like these or play games like Temple Run or Subway Surfers. Basically, what I'm saying is, until developers really start developing stuff for the iPad will never reach its true potential. And if you've been following the story of the iPad, then you know that most of what everyone gets hyped about when news of a new iPad comes out is its potential. Its potential ability to do things as well as laptops and computers, and maybe even better. But at the end of the day, without developers and without the right apps or games or just Mac and PC equivalent software, without these things, the iPad Pro just can't reach its potential, no matter how powerful the hardware gets. But then again, it doesn't have to be this way. Like I said, the iPad could be very, very good and very exciting and could be a revolutionary product, but it could also be overkill hardware for limited software. I mean, we've gotten excited about the specs of iPads before, and the same exact software thing has held it back. In fact, it's still kind of holding it back today at the time I'm making this video. So what's it gonna be? Is the iPad Pro gonna be exciting or disappointing? Or just somewhere in the middle? Well, I don't know. You don't know. We all don't know. Actually, Marquez might though, because he's been using the M1 iPads for quite a bit now. But for the rest of us, we can speculate, but we can't really know until we have it in our hands at the end of May. But right now though, at least we know all we need to know about the M1 iPad Pro on paper. Thanks for watching.